Greetings from Liverpool. My name's Jeff Goulding, and I'd just like to wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to all the listeners and guests at the Liverpool Connection Podcast and the ATX Reds Press. Happy holidays, everyone.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Liverpool Connection ATX Reds Press. I'm Dazza. I've got Mr. Steve Wilson with me, and today's special guest, I know me and Steve have wanted him on the show for a long time, and he's finally graced us with his presence, is Jaime Webster. Hiya, Jaime.
Hello. Hey. Hello everyone. Thanks very much for having me, guys.
We're going to kick on and get straight to it then. What does Liverpool Football Club mean to you, and when did you start going to the matches?
Well, everything really, ever since I was able to, since I knew what a football was, I wanted to, and I knew what Liverpool Football Club was. Obviously, my father's a lifelong fan. His dad was a lifelong fan, and many generations before that. And it was something that my dad lived and breathed it for a long time. He was an avid traveller of, back in the day, back in his youth. He was, home and away for about 10 seasons, and obviously went everywhere in Europe and stuff like that. So it was in me from birth, you could say. You know what I mean? I think I went to my first game when I was about 4 years of age. The first one I can remember, and it was a friendly against Valencia at home, and it was. I just remember the colours and the noises more than anything else. I think we actually got beat, but it was a pre-season friendly, and I just remember the colours and the noises, and I was infatuated. And then as soon as I got home, it was like, Dad, when can I go to the next one and stuff like that. And it's just, every opportunity my dad got to take me to the game, then that'd be our little thing that we do. And so I've loved Liverpool Football Club since I was old enough to know what it was. And it's just like a lot of people who grew up in the city, it's a big thing when you go into school as a young lad in Liverpool, what football team you support, and who won on the weekend and stuff like that, right up from reception upwards. Do you know what I mean? It is funny. It's mad. Footballs. You've only got to drive around to the local playing fields of a Saturday, Sunday morning, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of kids playing and adults playing football all over the city. It's football and music is probably a massive description of Liverpool as a city in two words. So it's from a young age, mate, and Liverpool Football Club, means the world to me, and it meant the world to me back then. You know what I mean? My dream was to play up front for Liverpool or play in goal for Liverpool, and unfortunately that never happened. But with what I'm doing now, it's not too far off it. So it's I'd take that as a second dream, if you like. But
Steve.
Hey, Jaime, thanks for coming on, man. Like Daz said, we've been looking forward to having you on and been following your career. And it's, when we watch these matches, especially with this team, we see Curtis Jones out there, and we see Trent Alexander-Arnold, local lads that have made it good to the first team. And we kind of look at you similarly as a local, lad, obviously. And now with your music have gone from just, having fun playing covers at the pub, and now you get to travel with the teens and be part of Boss Night. And we spoke to Dan a couple weeks ago, and he kind of told us your journey on his end how we saw it. So I wanted to see if you could share your perspective on how this all became, going from just playing the guitar and doing a couple Liverpool chants, and now having a top selling album. And so we're just interested in see, how you're viewing it from your end.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, to be honest, it's been the fucking craziest 2 or 3 years. That if you'd have said to me 5 years ago when I was working, as an electrician, if you'd have come onto a building site and said to me, in 5 years' time, you'll have done, you'll have your own top selling album, you'll have played to 60,000 people in Madrid, 20 in Kiev. You know, you'll have played in America, you know, on 2 separate tours. You'd have played all these places in Europe and around the world to all these crowds. I'd have probably told you to get lost and stop winding me up. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's the thing was, it happened. The way I see it, it happened because I wasn't trying to make it happen. If that makes sense, it was. You know, my dream of I played in bands as a young lad, and I used to write music and stuff like that. And I had a dream for a long time of being like, you know, the next sort of Bob Dylan, if you like. And you know, I hadn't give up on those dreams, but it was always, you know, I worked as an electrician, and you know, I just done the music for a bit of extra money and a lot of fun with my friends and stuff like that. You know, after games and on Friday nights and stuff. So it wasn't. I was just enjoying living. Do you know what I mean? Being a young lad, following my football team all around the world as a fan, and you know, obviously at the same time, getting to play music at home and, you know, to earn me a little bit of cash to do it, and playing to, you know, rowdy crowds in you know, really rough pubs in Liverpool and stuff like that. It were just great experiences. Do you know what I mean? Some of the times I've had on those Friday nights alone are enough to write a book. Do you know what I mean? But you know, moving on, I just, like, the boss night thing sort of started. I was playing in pubs and I was traveling with. I turned about 16, and I decided that I wanted to, you know, because I'd started to work, I'd left school, I was earning some money for myself, decided that I wanted to spend that money on nothing else but following Liverpool Football Club, like my dad did, around, you know, the country, around the world, around Europe. And that was what I wanted to do for the next few years of my life. And, you know, there was a couple of mates of mine who we used to, you know, when we could get tickets, we'd go together and stuff like that. And then we got into talking to a few lads at the match at an away game one time, and they said, oh, well, we're going on the train next week to Wigan if you want to come with us. So we started meeting friends at the match who were doing the same thing around our age, and then we started jumping on the coaches with the lads. So there's like 50 lads who organised the coach themselves, and they put it on to travel to away games and stuff like that. So I got on the coach, and I was quite shy about telling the lads that I was a singer, because it was quite an intimidating scene at the time. You know, like, I was just a 16-year-old lad, sort of coming onto a coach where there's some of the lads are 14, some of the lads are 40. You know, like, some of the lads are doctors, some of the lads do illegitimate things for money. Do you know what I mean? It's you know, it's just such a broad spectrum of people, and it was like a new world to me. And I was just like, it was quite an intimidating scene to walk onto. But what you find with people in Liverpool and like that sort of the Liverpool scene is it's got a very, very thick and hard outer shell. But once you get into it, it's the warmest and most welcoming place, you know, in the world. And I found that, like, quite quickly. As you can tell, I can talk quite a lot. So I make friends quickly. Do you know what I mean? I like to think I'm quite a nice person. So I just, you know, I made a lot of friends, but I kept it really quiet that I used to play music. And then one of my friends sort of, you know, grassed me up and showed the lads a few videos of me playing in pubs and stuff like that. And a few of the lads off the car, I was expecting everyone to start calling me like a fake Justin Bieber or something like that, you know, to tell you, like, that was what I was expecting. And they weren't. They were just so supportive, and they were like, that's amazing. I've never met anyone who could do anything like that, you know, like, in the sort of background in the world that they've lived in. So that they were like really, really interested in it. And, well, when are you next playing? I said, I'm playing like before. We played, God knows if it was at home at the time, you know, this is going back 10 years now. So we had a home game on the following Saturday. I said, well, I'm playing the Friday before that, and then on the Saturday night in town. So they said, oh, we'll come the Friday before, and if you're any good, we'll come after the match and see it as well. Do you know what I mean? So Friday night, about 40, 50 people come down, and we started, like, sort of, you know, they were singing all the songs back with me, really, 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 really supported me on a night, as well as my family and my friends that I'd grown up with were there as well. But they really, really supported me, and they give me a lot of confidence. And then, so after the game the next day, they were like, oh, we all went to see Jaime last night, and, you know, he was really good. And, you know, you wouldn't expect it because he looks like a little scally and whatnot. Because back then, I had skinhead, I had short hair, do you know what I mean? I was like typical Liverpool scally sort of thing, you know, in the way that I looked, not in the way that I acted, but the way that I looked and the way that I talked and stuff like that. And no one really had me down as a singer and a guitar player. And then after the game, then there was 70 people there, you know, and so then word of mouth started to spread, and people kept coming on the odd Friday night to see me. And then all of a sudden, one of the lads off the coach said, well, there's these lads called Dan Nico and, a couple of other lads, and they run this thing called Boss Night, and it's basically just lads come down and play songs like you do in the pubs, but you do it after the game to like a crowd of all the lads who go to the match. And because I've been travelling the games, I knew a lot of the people who went to these Boss Nights. So I got it, like, they asked Dan if I could play, and he gave me a little, like a 20-minute slot at the start of the bill. Got 2013 now, maybe. And yeah, it was mad because all the friends that I'd sort of made at that time had come down as well, and the venue only holded about 150 people. There was loads of people outside, and crowd went great, and it just started to move from there. And I think it was the Brendan Rodgers era was when it really started to become like a thing for Liverpool fans, and like a thing where Liverpool songs started to get sung because of what was going on the pitch. We were challenging for the league for the first time in a good while, and it was we had the great first 11. You know what I mean? Gerrard was playing in like a deeper role. Suarez, Sturridge. We were a really good. Jordan Henderson at the time. You know what I mean? We were a really good team, and it just started. It was because of the inspiration that was that we were getting from what was going on the pitch when we were playing the gigs after the games. I'd be singing a song, for example, Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel, and Jordan Henderson at the time was this young 23, 24-year-old who was playing unbelievable out of his skin, and the inspiration came from a few people in the crowd to sing "Here's to you, Jordan Henderson. Brendan loves you more than you will know." And I started singing it. The crowd started singing it. People got the phones out. Next week, people were singing it on the cop, and that was when the YouTube and Twitter thing started to and Liverpool FC started to getting LFC TV started to get involved. Oh, will you come and play this at the end of one of our shows? And that was like my first foot in the door. And it was like, I didn't think much of it. I just thought, oh yeah, it's sound, I'll be on the telly. Phoned my mum and told her I was going to be on the telly. Do you know what I mean? And so my mum, ordered the subscription to LFC TV just to watch that, just to watch that show. And that was for me, that was the biggest thing that had happened to me in my life. Do you know what I mean? And it was literally like a 2-minute cameo at the end of the show while the credits were running. It was probably showing my face for 20 seconds, but it was I was made up, and it's just, I just look forward to, just because the crowds at the Boss Nights were so good at those times. It wasn't like a case of I'm gonna be a superstar with all this. It was just, I can't wait to do that again. Do you know what I mean? That these were gigs that I'd never ever had experience of playing. The crowds were just so energetic and sweating all over me, spitting all over me. I'm spitting all over them. Couldn't happen now in this day and age, with what's going on. But it was just an unbelievable time. And then the blessing in disguise, which really sort of made me become that this, bring this repertoire of 20 Liverpool songs to a gig, was actually a job off Liverpool. So LFC TV, because the momentum started to grow, and there was footage then showed and tweeted by Liverpool of the Boss Nights in the run into that end of the season where we thought we were going to win the league. And even when we didn't win the league, we had a great party as if we'd won it, because we come so close. And there was videos of us on all over Twitter saying we'd nearly won the league, and now you're going to believe us. Just having a laugh at the situation and being as Liverpool fans do, you know what I mean? Win, lose or draw, you know what I mean? We'll have a good time, and we still sing and support our team through whatever we go through. And so that was getting a bit of attraction then by LFC TV. And when we started, obviously people from around the world started wanting to come to Boss Nights because they'd seen these retweets and stuff like that, and people started to hear about it, and the night started to get bigger and bigger. And then LFC TV asked me to there's a documentary called Liverpool Sound, and it's about all the history of the songs and where they all came from. And they asked me if I'd learn those songs on the guitar and sing them for the documentary, for backing tracks and stuff like that. So that's what I'd done. It was like, I would never have probably thought, I'm going to learn, when the Reds go marching in and we love you Liverpool and every other. I wouldn't have probably thought to learn those songs. I was just a young lad who loved playing the guitar and having a laugh while he was doing it, you know what I mean? And I was a massive Liverpool fan. It never, but I thought, I'll sing them songs in the ground in the stadium with my mates. I won't sing them at a gig. That's not, no one does that, you know what I mean? And it was once I learned these songs for the documentary, by then I'd got a bit of a reputation, and pubs around Anfield started wanting me to play sets after the game and stuff like that. Well, no, because Boss Night's only 5 times a year in Liverpool. And so then that started to happen. And the first time I just thought, you know what, I'll try and play We Love You Liverpool. And played it. And the rest was history. Like, the crowd loved it, everyone loved it. And it just started to become this new little cult thing that was happening, you know, and like it started to grow. And that's where the interest came, and that's how it started to grow. That's the best way to describe it. I know it was a long-winded answer, but it's a long story. Do you know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's, you know, we're all interested in how that happens because we've seen the progression, right? And then you mentioned Kiev, where you played in front of 20,000 people. I've tried to forget Kiev totally, right? So, yeah. And then the following year, luckily, we get to play in Madrid, and then you have 60,000 people. Obviously, they're not all going to the game. And just from the videos of it, it was such a party. Can you kind of take us through that day experience and how that all happened, and, you know, the feelings you had looking out here in a foreign country and all these people there to listen to Jaime Webster?
Yeah, it was, well, Kiev was the foot in the door for that sort of thing. And I think the club majorly underestimated how big the turnout was going to be in Kiev for that sort of event. You know, the stage was probably prepped for about 2,000 people, and there was probably about 15 to 20 in that park. And so going to Madrid, it was strange because at the end of Kiev, at the end of the gate, the guy from Liverpool, Tom Cassidy, who's become a great friend of mine, he's the head of tourism at Liverpool. He said to me, you know, if this happens again, we'll do it properly. We'll do it big. We'll do it like, you know, think Glastonbury sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, we know the scale that we need to do that now. And then we got announced Madrid, and we were in the knockout stages, and we were sort of, there was conversations between me, Dan, and Tom Cassidy, and we were sort of texting, you know, if it's Madrid, it's going to have to be massive, because it's very easy to get to Spain from England and from many other parts of Europe and you know, the world, whatever. It's not a hard place to get to. You know, if you're from Texas, if you go into South America, nearly everywhere flies to Madrid from South America. Do you know what I mean? So it's not. It would have had to be massive. So it was so. When the Barcelona game happened, I thought away, like, you know, after that game, I thought, I played the Boss Night before it, obviously, and I thought, well, that's going to be my last gig in Europe till next season now. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. And, you know, coming out the ground, I thought, you know, the gig in Madrid now, it was building on me, you know, in the back of my mind at this gig, and it was putting a lot of pressure on me, actually, and, like, you know, that I might have this unbelievably scaled gig to play. And, like, while I was excited, it was also quite a daunting, nerve-wracking time. So, as well as there was a bit of sadness, but, like, I thought, well, it's going to be tough to overcome this, do you know what I mean? And there was a bit of relief that, like, you know, I can stop worrying about it so much now. And, you know, like, everyone was asking me questions, you know, what are we doing in Madrid? And I couldn't speak a bit because, like, you know, we'd had a verbal agreement that we wouldn't, you know, let anything leak until it was all in place and whatever. So then, obviously, that night in Anfield, you know, it was the last thing I thought about at the end of the night, because obviously I was in fact, you know, we've just I'm going to the European Cup final, you know, the game, everyone was talking about what happened. It was like, and then at the end, I played a gig after it, you know, in the halfway house, and I played that gig, and then someone said to me at the end of the gig, "See you in Madrid, lads," and I went, oh my God, I'm going to be playing, you know, this, and it was just like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? Like, what? I couldn't, you know, I couldn't even picture it, because I was thinking, how big's it going to be? What's it going to look like? And it was just a very, like, the build up to it was like, we had a lot of gigs though in the build up to it. We done a tour of Ireland. We had like a farewell party in Liverpool, in the convention centre next to the arena. And, like, so I was working flat out, and then it was only like, I had like 2 or 3 days before it where I realised, like, shit, like, this is getting close now, you know what I mean? And it was like the pressure of, like, you know, yeah, doing the gig, but then this gig could go down as one of the greatest days in, like, Liverpool fans' history if we win the European Cup as well. Do you know what I mean? Because Kiev was quickly, not quickly forgotten about, but some people still talk about Kiev, but a lot of people don't, which is fair enough. No, it's fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Like the ground, up until the whistle blew for the kickoff, it was an unbelievable day. But then, you know, after that, it wasn't. But so I wanted this day to be talked about. It was like one of the greatest days ever, potentially. Do you know what I mean? And you know, thankfully, like, you know, we got there early in the morning to the square. I'd had like a gig the night before for the club, and met up with the lads from Boss Night the following morning because they flew in on the day flight, and we met up in the. Actually went to the ground at 8 o'clock in the morning to do an interview for LFC TV. And as I opened the lift at 7:30 in the morning, this is actually a good story. I opened the lift at 7:30 in the morning, and my hotel was like the sponsored hotel for the Champions League. You know, because Liverpool had put me up in it for play. I was playing in the hotel that night, so like Pirlo and people like that were staying in the hotel. Steven Gerrard was apparently staying in the hotel. Phil Thompson, people like that. So I opened the lift doors, and there's a guy with a video camera and the European Cup in front of me. And I stood back, and it was a Heineken advert. And I said, "Is that the real European Cup?" And he said, yeah, it's the real one. I said, "I don't believe you. Where's the names?" And he said, "They're on the back side. Yeah, do you want to touch it and move it around?" I said, "Oh, no, I'm not touching that." You know what I mean? No way. And I said, "I'm getting in the next lift." And so the first thing I seen in the morning that night was the European Cup. And went to the stadium, whatever, done my interview. Then I got to the square, and I'd seen the size of the stage, and I was like, wow, do you know what I mean? It's just like, we done our sound check. There was practically 20 people there. So then like, we were in a Palladium behind it, and I was like, I waited, you know, like we had some breakfast and stuff, walked away from the square, come back, and just the crowd was just there. It was like they just turned up while we went for breakfast, you know what I mean? And then the nerves and the excitement as the day was growing, like, you know, it was just I was thinking, like, this is potentially going to be the biggest day of my whole life. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not, I'll be lucky to see another day like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, in my life, and have an experience like this. My family were at the side of the stage. My girlfriend was at the side of the stage. It was, you know, all my friends had made it over, and it was just, it was an unbelievable, like, the build up to it. Watching John Power play from Cast, playing You'll Never Walk Alone at like 2:30 in the day, 3 o'clock in the day, and seeing grown men cry. Like, I was crying, stood behind him. I hadn't even played yet. Do you know what I mean? I had tears coming down my eyes. I was like, this is just unbelievable. And it just, I was thinking to myself, there's no fucking way that we're not going to win this European Cup today. It's not, like, not today, not happening, sorry. Like, you know, like, and the thing was, Kiev had set us in good stead. Like, Tottenham were in dreamland, but we were in known territory that day. Do you know what I mean? And, like, you know what I mean? We knew what it took to win the European Cup. I haven't had that bitterness from the year before. And those players weren't going to have that same taste in their mouth that night. It was never going to happen. It's going to be champagne, you know what I mean, for winning the European Cup. And yeah, so comes down to the time of me playing. The police nearly shut it down because of the sound levels. About 15 minutes before I went on, Peter Moore actually had a stern word with the police, and he actually said to the police, "If you shut this down now, you're not going to have problems with sound. You're going to have a fucking riot on your hands." He was like, because those, you know, that crowd are going to go mad if they don't get to see Jaime play. And to hear the CEO of Liverpool, who's obviously worked with Bill Gates and people like that, say something like that about me, it was quite a nice feeling in itself. And so I walked out onto the stage, and I've got a friend who's a professional boxer, and like I've said to him, that's the only way I can probably relate to what you do. After coming off that, you know, it was a blur. It was just unbelievable. It was just, I just remember playing the Van Dijk song. The only memories I have of playing the Van Dijk song and Ale. I don't remember anything else. And I hadn't had a drink. I hadn't had a drop of alcohol or a drug or anything like that. I was, you know, it was just there, and the adrenaline and everything just carried me right through it. And like, I just remember those moments, seeing that. You seen the video of the Van Dijk when it kicks in, and just seeing the, you know, 60,000 people jumping up and down. It was just like, and then like playing Ale, you can hear the crackle in my voice at the end. Like, I was like close, I was holding my tears in. Do you know what I mean? It was like, and then at the end of the gig, I let out this like, I don't know what I said. I just screamed loads of words and loads of swear words, and just like let everything I had in me left out. And like literally walked off the stage, and just like my girlfriend was there at the side of the stage, and I just wrapped myself in like one of the stage drapes and just burst into tears. It was just not. I wasn't sad. I was, unbelievably happy, but it was just like the feeling between the crowd, myself, and everyone on stage behind me. It's just like it was something else. Do you know what I mean? It was something that like I'm probably lucky to feel again. Bloody hell. The only other people from Liverpool who felt something like that is the Beatles, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like, or Liverpool's first team. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're the only, like, I'm a very lucky boy to be able to have experienced it. And then, like, what followed with the European Cup was like, I got into the ground, like, drained, like, literally drained. Like, I had a little bit of a disguise on because obviously, like, I couldn't, like, after the gig and stuff, there was like, I just got mobbed, and like, I was, trying my best to get photos with everyone. As you know what I mean? I'm quite a nice person when you meet me and stuff, but I was in the ground, I couldn't, like, I thought, I just need to get to my seat. I'm exhausted, I'm going to collapse. And so I had like a scarf around me and like a red hat on and, sunglasses and stuff. I got to my seat and then took it all off, and like a couple of people around me. Then I was sound and I wasn't bothered. I was in my seat. Everyone was like, we were up for it. Scored an early goal, celebrated, and then the rest of that game, I was stood there like absolutely drained. And I just remember some fella next to me, and he like, there was like a superior Tottenham up heaping the press. Alisson was making save after save, and there was a fella next to me, like an older fella. Do you know what I mean? And he stood up and he said, "Right, lads, come on, this is our, we're gonna have to do something." Like, we were up in the top tier, and we said, "Come on, like, let's fucking give them it. Let's give them that last 5 minutes." You know what I mean? They need us here. And like, it woke me up, and like, we all just stood up together, like, collectively, the whole end, when we were just, we were roaring us on, and like, you know what I mean? We started making the odd attack. The Origi goal, you know what I mean? Goes in, all the lights pump back into you. I'm awake again, like, pandemonium. See us lift the trophy. Then I had to go and play the players' celebration party after the game. And so this day, I was just thinking, is this day real? I was walking back to get onto the coach, and Phil Thompson was banging on the windows of the coach like he was in Istanbul, and he's banging on the windows of the coach to me, and I was on his coach, and I jumped on the coach. The pair of us are rolling around on the bus, hugging each other, fucking like, this is a European Cup winning captain. Do you know what I mean? I've got his wife in a headlock. You know what I mean? Like, it was just absolute. It was unbelievable. And so I met up with my girlfriend. We hosted the party, and take stage ready for the next thing. Let's hear it for the European champions. Jordan Henderson literally kicks the door open, runs in with the European Cup, and I start playing "Alley, Alley, Alley" as they come in, and the players are singing along with me, dancing. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone, it's just, so then, like, finish me some little sets. The players are having an unbelievable, with the families, friends, everyone's, it's just unbelievable. There's, all the ex-players are there. Steven Gerrard's there, like, Robbie Fab stood at a table with Robbie Fowler and like John Aldridge and Phil Thompson, people like, it's just, I'm thinking to myself, what is happening here? And then I was making a beeline to have a smoke, and Jurgen Klopp was like sort of stood in the doorway. And like, obviously I met Jurgen the first time I went on pre-season tour, and like, briefly, do you know what I mean? And he'd said he'd been great with me. And so then he was getting all sorts of people, but like, not bothering him, but wanting a piece of him, shall we say. So I didn't want to do, I just put my hand on his shoulder and just said, "Jurgen, I just want to say thank you." And he turned around and looked at me and said, "What?" Like this, and I said, "I just want to say thank you, mate. So just thank you so much. Like, have a great night. Enjoy this." Like, and he just slapped me across the face, like that, like full force, like that. And he said, "No, thank you. Come here and like give me a massive hug." And I said, "Oh, Jurgen, this is me bird, Rachel." And he was like, "Hello, Jamie's bird." Give me bird a big hug, pick the head up. You know what I mean? I haven't washed my cheeks since, like, you know what I mean, since but so then like. That was Madrid in a nutshell. Like, and then Pep Linders come over and like give me the European Cup to get a photo with. Do you know what I mean? And like, let me have a look at his medal and stuff like that, and had a proper chat with me, like, really long. I didn't want to bother Jurgen. I could see Jurgen was open for the chat, but I just, like, I knew that he was going to have people on him all night. I was like, you try and enjoy yourself. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even bother the players. Said hello to Alisson because I got to play guitar with him, and just said congratulations. Passed Andy Robbo, said the same to him. everyone else are left alone because they were getting absolutely, murdered by all sorts of scousers who'd snuck into the party and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was an unbelievable night. So got me photo with the European Cup just before we left, and it's funny, the first thing I seen in the morning was the European Cup, and the last thing I seen in the night before I went to bed was the European Cup. And I was just thinking to myself, 5 o'clock in the morning it was at this time actually, and my girlfriend's just let me know, and I was just thinking, I made up I never touched it in the morning, before the lift. But yeah, it was that day. It's like, for as long as I've got a memory, that'll be up there with one of the best days of my life. Do you know what I mean? And it's one for the kids, for the grandkids, to anyone I walk past in the street. You know what I mean? It's people will be, in 30 years' time when I'm not doing this anymore, people will be fucking sick of my Madrid story. Do you know what I mean? But until then, you know what I mean, I'm gonna ram it down the throats because it was just an unbelievable day.
We're very fortunate that Liverpool decided to come back to the United States in 2019, because normally they would alternate between the United States and then having a Far East trip, right? So we're very fortunate that a couple months after we win the European Championship in Madrid, you're taking the team is taking a tour of the United States. You get to come along with the team, and then I was fortunate enough to meet you at Boston, and what a great boss night that was in Boston. I know it's not Madrid, but that the energy in that little the House of Blues was so fantastic. Everybody was having a good time. You're there with the legends and with the Anfield rap guys, and it was such a great party. Can you kind of give us some insight on your experiences whenever you come to the United States, and how you find the level of enthusiasm for your music and just the team in general?
Yeah, well, it was, like, as the young musician with me of like 14, 15, 16, your dreams are to go and play places like the House of Blues in Boston, sold out shows in America and stuff like that. That's the dream for every musician, do you know what I mean? To break America. I mean, I know it's not quite the same thing as doing, like, you know what I mean? I'm not, it's not quite Bruce Springsteen, you know what I mean? But it's, the excitement for me to go over there and do it was like, I've never been more excited to travel and play anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Besides the Madrid thing, because of the magnitude of it. But the first time going on tour to America was like, I remember getting a phone call and I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It was like the best present anyone's given me. Do you know what I mean? To say you're going to go on tour in America. The first time I went out there, I played my first gig in Charlotte, which isn't too far from you guys. I know it's not exactly close, but it's south compared to where else we've ever been. And yeah, it was, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. You know what I mean? The town in itself in the daytime wasn't like, I think not many people live in the town of Charlotte. I think a lot of people live outside the city and stuff like that. So it's not a typical New York or Boston or anything like that type of city. That it was, I didn't know what to expect. I got to the venue and then everyone turned up, and I was sure not everyone knew who I was at that point, because Kiev wasn't the magnitude of it. But I was shocked that people knew who I was, and like I was playing Liverpool songs that like could be singing the pubs that not many people who go into Anfield know, and there's people there singing them on the front row, giving it word for word, and it blew me mind. Do you know what I mean? I knew that like we had a massive following all over the world, and I knew it was big, but I didn't think it was to the extent of, I was looking at kids there, and some of those kids were 20 odd years old. You know what I mean? And like you think, no, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't any disrespect, but I thought it'd just be, a lot toned down, and people were just there for the football. I didn't think people would be there for the culture side of it as well. Do you know what I'm saying? It was a real eye opener, and it was a really welcoming one. You know what I mean? And when I got back there the next year in 2019, like you said, it seemed like it had been turned up by like 5,000. Do you know what I mean? I found, walking down the street in Boston, I had fellas jumping out of the pub, calling me for a photo and stuff like that. It was, I felt like one of the Beatles. It was amazing, and to see like to go to the games over there and see the atmospheres in like your Fenway Parks and stuff like that. It was just, it was great. You know what I mean? Even when we done the big house the year before in Michigan, against Man United, that was a great atmosphere. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah, I was there for that one as well.
Well, I sat in the crowd that day, just with all the fans. Do you know what I mean? And it was great. There was arguments between Liverpool and Man United fans and everything. It was like I was laughing my head off. I felt like, you know, felt like almost the same over here. You know what I mean? And it's to do the gig in the House of Blues. Like the atmosphere for that was just incredible. I knew it was going to be good based on what I'd done when we went to South Bend, Indiana, because we'd done a couple of gigs there, and the action from the crowd was phenomenal. But I knew Boston was obviously more of a stronghold for Liverpool fans anyway in the US. So I knew that the support was going to be bigger there. And my friends went to Boston the last time that they went on pre-season, just like as fans on the tour, and he said like it was mad over there. Do you know what I mean? He really liked it, and it was like, you know, it was quite fanatical. So to do the House of Blues gig and have people singing along with me, people chanting my name, and, you know, sharing the stage with like all those legends like Ian Rush, Paddy and Vladdy. They were the lads of my generation then, you know what I mean? Jason McAtee is a good friend of mine now, and it was amazing to get to know Jason. Like, it was a great experience, and just to represent the club and the city again to a stage, 2,500 people, sell-out show, House of Blues. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was, you know, I would never have dreamt it ever. And I just want to say thanks to everyone, like people like yourself and everyone who come down there, and they're, you know, because it's not, the thing is with these gigs, right? You have to make it that gig as well. It's not just what I do. I have my passion for Liverpool Football Club. Do you know what I mean? And I will always display that on the stage when I'm singing about Liverpool Football Club, because I can't hide it. It just comes out. But the difference is when you come as a crowd, if you just stand there and watch and film me and let me sing, it doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? Because it's all about the back and forth between me and you. And so for you to come and basically bring it just as I did, you know what I mean? Like, it was like there was, you know, 2,500 versions of me singing back to me. Do you know what I mean? That's what it was. And it doesn't work without the crowd. So thank you to everyone who came and you know, made it an unbelievable night. It's another night that I don't know if I'll ever get to play like on a stage like that in America again. You know, it's like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? No one knows what's going to happen. You'd like to think so. You know, with the massive draw that Liverpool FC has, but you know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, do you? You know what I mean? And that until I do it again, until I do it bigger and better, that will always be one of the best gigs that I've ever played.
You know, it's funny because by the end of the night, because that day started with the training, you know, and obviously we had talked about the players being delayed, and then they finally get to the stadium to train, and it was like the hottest day ever in Boston. It was like 100 degrees out there, and we're standing there watching the players. And then by the time we get to the House of Blues, everybody's just been out in the sun all day. They've been drinking. It was just a major piss up. So by the time you came on, you know, it was all ramped up. And I think I ended the night with no shirt on in front of the front of the stage. So yeah, we appreciate it. And you know, it's so funny because, you know, we brought 50 people from Austin over to Boston to see the team and to watch you, and it's such a great atmosphere. And so we appreciate you having coming over here, and we hope that once this COVID scenario passes, that you'll be back over to the States and playing, and we can come watch you. So
yeah, well, we had a few shows booked in, you know, throughout this, you know, when we were supposed to win the league as normal in May last year. You know, that May to September or May to August, there was a couple of US shows. Do you know what I mean? Potentially, well, planned and ready to be announced, but unfortunately, they all have to get pulled. And but it's definitely something that I know the lads at Boss Night are very keen to get back out to the States. I know Liverpool are keen to take me back out to the States, and I know that, you know, there's other people in the States who've made contacts to like my management and my booking agent to try and get me out in the States. So, you know, I think it's fair to say that it will happen again. It's definitely it's not goodbye. It's just, you know, so long for now. You know what I mean? But yeah, I can't thank everyone enough who's made the experiences, you know, great for me, because like I said, it wouldn't happen without it never happens without the crowd doing their bit. Do you know what I mean? You know that from from spending the times you're having Anfield, and you see how the crowd have carried the team. It's exactly the same for a musician. And yeah, thanks for making me work easy, really. You know what I mean? It's some of the, I mean, it's in terms of like, you know, energy, you know, it's very much hard work, but in terms of like the actual performance, it was very easy because you made it easy for me. And you know, like it's a musician's dream to play to a crowd like you that night, and I'll never forget it.
Well, having you on now, you know, not only talk about Liverpool Football Club, got to talk about your album, which is fucking amazing, by the way. You know, not just because you're on, but I listen to it every day. Like, it's getting worn out. But with some of your influences, you say, you know, that you're fascinated, like with Oasis and Liam and John Lennon and Bob Dylan. What fascinated you about them? Is it especially like Liam? Is it his swagger, just like on stage presence?
Do you know what, with Liam, I think at first it was his voice that attracted me, because it was so like different, probably similar to Lennon. You know what I mean? Lennon had a very distinctive voice. Likewise, Bob Dylan, they've got very distinctive voices. They're not necessarily great voices, like pitch perfect, you know, tenor voices. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't sing in choirs, these fellas, but you know, doing what, which is much like myself, I'd like to think. You know what I mean? They had something about them. Do you know what I mean? And it was alluring at the time. And definitely Liam's voice, his attitude. You know, obviously as a 14, 15-year-old teenager, you know, you gotta love that attitude. And you adopt that. Everyone turns into a Liam Gallagher at some point through being a teenager in England. Like, you know what I mean? You could probably vouch for that yourself, mate. You know what I mean? With you, especially see you there in your pretty green jacket and stuff like that. We all know you've had an Oasis phase. Do you know what I mean? So
I still have.
Yeah, well, everyone does. Do you know what I mean? And I think Oasis were like, they're all like, you know, people talk about, you know, music was like an addiction to me. You know, it become an addiction. When you talk about drug addictions, you talk about gateway drugs. And I think Oasis were my gateway drug to the addiction of music. Do you know what I mean? It was like, they opened my eyes up to guitar. My mum wanted me to play guitar when I was young, and I hated it. I wanted to play football, but because I'd learned, you know, she made me learn, go to lessons and stuff like that. I'd stopped playing when I was about 10. I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. But when I got to 14, I picked the guitar back up, and you know, my fingers still remembered a couple of little things, and that set me in good stead to then teach myself to do what I wanted to do. And it got me back. Oasis got me to pick that guitar back up. You know what I mean? And like the Beatles, obviously. And then it was like the Bob Dylan stuff was what made me realise that like you could do it for a living, you know what I mean? Because all Bob Dylan was doing was playing a few chords and writing about real life and telling the truth and just, you know, being himself, but in a song. And, you know, it's not rocket science what he's doing, you know what I mean? Yet he had an unbelievable way of telling those stories, and which I don't think anyone will ever surpass that level. But in terms of like telling stories and songs, Bob Dylan for me is the ultimate troubadour, if you like, you know what I mean? But he was the one who made me think, mixed in with the Oasis, and obviously the Beatles coming from my city and bands like the Lads and stuff like that, and Oasis being 5 normal lads from Manchester. There's always, that's what gives you the belief to think that you can do it, you know what I mean? You don't have to go to a private music school to be, you know what I mean? You don't have to be able to read music and play 12 instruments to be successful. But it was what gave me the edge, and thankfully for me, the sort of like circles that I was knocking around in with my mates. And, you know, obviously the Liverpool's a very sort of socialist, left-wing sort of city, do you know what I mean? So I was gaining those sort of perspectives from the experiences that I was sharing and the people that I was spending time with. And that was giving me like, and you know what the Tory government's, you know, shitting on the city of Liverpool time after time, shitting on the people of the country time after time after time. You know, as a young lad, that was something that I was really passionate about, and it was giving me fuel for fire in my songs from a young age. And then obviously the day in Madrid, funny enough, was led to me doing the album, because the fella who set the stage up for Madrid, he runs a festival in Liverpool called Sound City. And I met him on the plane, but I didn't know who he was. And he was sat next to me, and I got talking to him, and like had him laughing. We were crying. We were talking about all sorts of stuff. He really hit it off like really, really well. And at the end of the plane journey, he said, "Can I have your number? Because I might have something, you know, you really interested me, and like, I might have something of worth for you when you get back. And I said, well, why the fuck are you? You know what I mean? And he said, oh, well, I own Sound City and I also own a record label, you know what I mean? And I went, oh, that's handy, innit? Are you coming to see me play tomorrow and stuff like that? You know what I mean? He said, yeah, I'll be there. I set the stage up and stuff like that. I said, oh, did you? And so he was behind me on stage that day, and he left to go to the stadium straight after the gig, so I didn't see him. But he just texted me and just said, let's make a record straight after the gig, do you know what I mean? So I was also coming home to sign a record deal, do you know what I mean? And so he come to the practice room and he listened to all the songs that I'd written, you know, up until that point. And like I said, Weekend in Paradise, this place, we're already in there. And he just said, you've never got an album there, mate. Let's just see what comes out in the next, you know what I mean? We'll get you recording, we'll get you set up, let's see what comes. And then I just started writing music for a living then, because I quit my job just before I went to Madrid, because the gigs that I had booked in over the summer and stuff like that, I was just like, I'm going to do this full time. And that's when my dream started to become a reality, just before Madrid. And then what followed was just shows all over the world, and, you know, just gigs in different countries with different supporters clubs, and, you know, playing, you know, writing, recording albums. And it just, my life just changed then, yeah. And thankfully, when it come down to the album being out, I had about 30 odd tunes to choose from, you know, basically about what was happening in, you know, between the ages of 14 and where I am now, not just to me, but to all the people that I was seeing and everything that I'd saw, all the little things that I'd learned, it was all put down, and we just chose what we thought were the strongest 12 songs, and, you know, we laid it out as an album. And, you know, the support that I gained off, obviously, the Liverpool fans, the platform that I built there was phenomenal. That gave me a leg up in the industry straight away, do you know what I mean? But it was also a hindrance in some ways, because I had a lot of people who didn't necessarily like Liverpool Football Club but loved music, who were reluctant to listen to the music because of that connection and because of what they'd seen before, and they assumed it was all about LFC. And I've always said, I'm going nowhere in the LFC world. I will always play these Liverpool gigs. I love Liverpool Football Club just as much as any Liverpool fan. So to be able to travel the world and play Liverpool songs with the team to fellow fans, playing all these, why would I stop doing that? You know, I would never stop doing it. I'm always going to be there. But at the same time, I'm trying to just start up something alongside it, something separate to it, that just shows a little bit of me as a musician, not me as a rally caller, you know what I mean? It's just a little bit of something different. And I've been dead thankful that all the fans all over the world and in the city who support Liverpool have given me that leg up and put me on those platforms where other people can hear me. And it's, you know, thankfully that the album went down really well.
Yeah, I see, you know, some of the reviews really, like, amaze me, just because, like, there's one from Happy People Music that said, we get by is poetry from the streets. And that's got to make you feel, you know, fucking great, you know, because they are heartfelt, Jamie, because even with this place, you know, when you sing My City, My People, My Heart, I know you're singing about Liverpool, you know, but there's people in Bangladesh, Austin, Texas, if they love their city, that's exactly the same, you know, so it just it resonates with everyone.
But I made up you said that, Daz, because, like, I was actually, like, writing this place and finished this place in New York the first time I come to Liverpool. I'd gone there with Liverpool on the first pre-season tour, and I was writing about, like, you know, it's about, you know, always being proud of where you come from. And I was visiting all these amazing places in the world, you know what I mean? But I was always very, you know, it was the city that I came from that gave me that leg up to go there. But I was also hoping that, like, people, when I played it, people would think about their own cities if they weren't from there. And that exact thing, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're from Liverpool, London, Tokyo, New York, Dublin, Madrid, you know what I mean? Whatever, if, you know, it's about, you know, and being, like, remembering that sort of leg up that you've had in life, and that those steps that led you to where you are now, you know what I mean? And I made up you said that, that's, yeah, nice one, because that was the whole, like, it wasn't for me, it was a song about Liverpool, because I'm from Liverpool. I didn't want it to be perceived as just that song about it, because it's about home, basically, you know what I mean? It's that's what it's about. So yeah, it's right.
and you know, it does resonate, you know, with the working class as well. I mean, especially for me, you know, because I'm from Formby, so you know, I grew up through Thatcherism, and then coming over there, and then growing up, you know, well, been through the Trumpism now.
Yeah.
So it you know, listening to Something's Gotta Give as well, it just like it hits a chord, because you know, both countries at the moment are just going through so much shit, that having a listen to your album just kind of, you know, tops it a little bit for me, because it's not just for young people, it's for old people as well. You know, I'm 50, and when I listen to your album, I feel like a kid again. And it's very weird too, because reason why I'm over in the States as well is my mum passed away with cancer, and I was going to get a tattoo when I was 20, and it was my city, my heart, my mum. You know, so when I first heard you do those lyrics, I was like, fucking hell, he's speaking to me. And I still haven't got the tattoo, by the way, but it's just crazy how mad, like, because I love the album, because you've got some bluesy folk in there, but you've got some like rockabilly and Americana in there as well. And it's just a mad album, you know, to listen to from the first track to the last track. And it talks about everyday life, but it's one where you're you know, at the end of the song you're quite happy. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it's the journey that I tried to take, you know what I mean? Something's Gotta Give in particular. It comes to a point where I was like, I was sat there one day and I was trying to write a song, and I was thinking of concepts, and then like I looked on my phone, and like I scrolled up my phone like that, and it was like, you know, like a news sort of suggested for you thing, and the first picture was Donald Trump, a headline about him, and the picture underneath was Boris Johnson and a headline about him, and I was like, how the fuck are these two people the most powerful people in the world? What's happened? Do you know what I mean? What, like, how have we got here? Do you know what I mean? So that was the Something's Gotta Give sort of thing, you know what I mean? And then that was where it come from. But it was I made up the album resonates with like yourself, and as far as the style of the music goes, it's just whatever comes out. I listen to all sorts of music. I've got all sorts of influences, and so whatever comes out, we just sort of we started to structure the album the right way, that like it tells a story. Do you know what I mean? And like, so at the end of the story, the concept is, you know what I mean, you do deal with a lot of shit in life, but you get through it and you enjoy the good times. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was the summarising sort of. Well, that was the summary of the album in Weekend in Paradise and We Get By. You know what I mean? Like, Weekend in Paradise is the question of, is it working for you? And if it is working for you and you're enjoying yourself, sound. But if it's not working for you and it's leading you down bad roads, you know, call it quits and find something else. And then We Get By just sums up, you know, but you'll be all right. You know what I mean? It'll be fine. And obviously there's the big political and sort of picture the you know, the different sort of twerks of society in the earlier stages of it. And then, you know, the breakthrough point with grinding the gears leading into like this place then, and then the joyful side of the album. That was what I went for, do you know what I mean? And so I made up that it, you know, obviously that was, I was hoping, I was thinking, the way I sat down and thought if, you know, there's more working class people, there's more of us than there is not working class people, and they see the same things I've seen, they feel the same things I've seen. So if people take the time to listen to it, I'm sure that it will resonate with them somewhere, do you know what I mean? Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people. So the fact that, you know, yourself and, you know, people have had, you know, unbelievable comments from people from all over the place, and not, you know, from all over, you know, people who don't even like football, people who hate Liverpool Football Club, you know, have all come and shown me massive support for the album. And, you know, it was massively important for me, because while I love what I do with Liverpool, there is more to me than just that, you know what I mean? And it's not a snigger at what I'm doing with Liverpool, because I love it, and it's not a snigger to any of the fans or anything that I've recruited along the way, because they, like I say, I'd be nothing. I wouldn't be here without them people, and they've given me some of the best times of my life, but at the same time, I just want, if you're looking for something more, I have got it, you know what I mean? And, well, I like to think I've got it, you know what I mean? And hopefully the next few albums will, follow suit. And there's definitely a lot more to come from me in both in the LFC world, the Jaime Webster, and in the singer-songwriter world, the Jaime Webster. And, I just hope I can take them both as far as possible. And, once all this COVID bollocks is over, we can have some proper parties. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to next.
Yeah, because I noticed, when you were going to do your tour, which obviously, got cancelled until next year, you were putting, no Liverpool songs on your posters because, you're a Liverpool supporter and people, mostly know you from doing Liverpool songs. But like you say, you're more than that. And, in the middle of your set, you don't fucking play, poor Scouser Tommy or stuff like that because that's you, I would think there's two Jamies, there's a Jamie that'll do the Liverpool songs. There's a time for that. And then there's a time for your own music. And by the way, congratulations on, did you sell out tonight?
Yeah, it's on Saturday night, yeah.
You were doing it at Hangar 34, right? But now it's at the Olympia.
No, Hangar 30, the Olympia's next year, so they've all sold out for next year. But the Hangar 34 shows,
Saturday, right?
They're a socially distanced events. Do you know what I mean? With like seated tables. But the Olympia is something like it's just hopefully all being mass gatherings allowed and stuff, and they're sold out for next year, which was phenomenal. We added the third date now, which is nearly sold out again, which is brilliant. But like you touched on there with the football songs, like when I'm doing my own music, like I said before, I have people who don't necessarily like Liverpool Football Club, who don't have a connection to Liverpool Football Club coming down to those gigs. So I'm going to play Poor Scouts with Tommy in the middle of the set. I'm alienating those people.
Yeah.
And like what I'm trying to say is, whilst my Liverpool FC music is inclusive to Liverpool fans, you know what I mean? My own music is inclusive to Liverpool fans, Everton fans, Man United fans. Do you know what I mean? Whoever you support, it's not about football. It's about life. Do you know what I mean? The other side of life, away from football. You know what I mean? And I suppose I'm lucky that I get to sing about football and sing about the other parts of life as well. Do you know what I mean? Not many people do. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's like respected the fact that I have tried to start off a little side project, and well, not a side project, something start off something different and try and roll with it. And the support I've received through it's been overwhelming, and it gives me the confidence to do it even more. You know what I mean? And at the same time, it makes me realise that the Liverpool fans have helped me do this, and that they are to be appreciated.
So thank you. What was the concept, to do the live from Park Street Studios? Was it just your need to kind of do a live set during this pandemic?
Yeah, well, the live gig was actually supposed to be. It's a live gig that was filmed, and it was for lockdown for like people who bought the album and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was on a platform called Guest House. It was like a thank you for people buying the album, and like there was a login code and stuff like that. But because we'd done it, like obviously recorded it all properly as we were doing it, but like live recording of it, the engineer who was working on it is also a very, very good producer. So we just decided to, like, whilst we were going to do the gig, we'd record the audio, and if it was worth doing, why not just throw it out for people to get like a sort of live aspect of the album, you know what I mean? Just for like, if they wanted it, we weren't putting it out there to break the charts. We were just putting it out there for the collectors and the people who wanted a little bit more, a little bit of a different aspect to the album if they liked it that much. Do you know what I mean? And that was all it was. It was just like something to keep people engaged, and for the people who were missing live music, we're doing a live album to tie it over around Christmas and stuff like that. So that was the up and down of it, really, just to keep things moving, and whilst I couldn't play a live gig, to give people the experience of it more than anything else. And yeah, so just it's 10 songs from the album, and just a different sort of not a different spin. They still sound the same songs, but it's just a lot more raw. Do you know what I mean? And like, you know, probably more what you'd expect. What if you'd expect, you know, think of what to expect if you come down to see me at any of the shows where I'm playing with the band and no football songs. That's a good insight as to what you're going to expect. You know what I mean? But it'll be bigger and better because there'll be a room full of people and backing tracks and stuff programmed in, so it's going to sound like the album, but with that real live experience. Do you know what I mean? And me sweating and running all over the stage like I'm used to doing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just to anyone who has bought a copy of that, because I know some of them have gone out to the States. Thank you very much again, and you know, your support never fails to amaze me out there. It's just you know, if you ever need, if I'm ever having a bad day, I just think of all like the messages that I get on the regular from people out in the States and all over the world, as well as the people in this country and in this city. You know what I mean? It always makes you feel better about yourself, and it always makes you crack on. So, you know, thanks for your support in every single way, right from the start right up to now. It doesn't go unnoticed, and you know, I'll always try my best to make you feel welcome and appreciated.
Next, I actually want to talk to you about, because you work with a lot of local charities, don't you? And putting LA out, you know, for basically you get no money from it. It's just proceeds to the local charities. And we've had Mark on from the Owen McVeigh Foundation. Absolutely class fella. Just I couldn't say, you know, more about Mark, just, you know, what he's gone through as well. But he's got the biggest heart. How did you come about with that?
Well, LA was done for an hour for others, because that was a friend of mine, Kev Morlands, who like was a staunch like home and away match goer who I met. He was a lot older than me. Decided to quit his job, start a charity for the good of the people in the city of Liverpool. So whilst it was a Liverpool song, it was a very grassroots charity with like not much funding. You know what I mean? So while it was a Liverpool song, I thought it was fitting. Me and Dan from Boss Night thought that it was fitting that the song should look after the people of Liverpool, not me. Do you know what I mean? And Dan, it shouldn't line our pockets. It should line, because, you know, I can't write songs about being a working class man of the people if I'm taking taking songs that other people have written and putting all the money in my pocket. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have felt right. I wouldn't have been able to go through with it. So that's what I've done for an hour for others, and that's raised nearly £50,000 to date. Do you know what I mean? Which is amazing for that charity. And then Mark McVeigh, I actually met him as a mate. He'd had a bit of obviously, like, he used to take his lad on the match. And a friend of mine, Adam Cairns, he does the flags on the Cop. He's part of the Spine Cop 1906 lads, and basically Owen used to help hold the flags for some of the lads. You know, he used to love doing it when he was on the Cop. And Mark come and spoke to me mate Adam and just said, like, basically me lads used to help you carry the flags on the Cop, and, you know, he's passed away. You know, is there anything you could do? So obviously Adam remembered who the lad was straight away. Because I'd never met Owen, but apparently, you know, his character, you'd never forget him once you met him. So Adam rallied the troops, you know, decided to make a big banner of basically supposed to be Mark and Owen going to match and for the charity. And, you know, we worked together on getting it. You know, Adam started like wanting to get involved in the charity, getting set up, and because Adam come on the coach with us every week, Mark obviously used to go to the match with his lads, and we give him an outlet to come to the match. You know, with us, we welcome anyone at the match. And Mark started travelling to Europe with us and stuff like that, travelling on the coaches tours. And I met him as a friend first, and then obviously when the charity launched, it was the launch night, he knew that I'd done the songs, and he asked me to play the nights, and, you know, I obviously played, and I always helped out where I could, you know, doing open days and stuff like that for the charity. I was just helped out where I could, and he asked me to be an ambassador. Probably just over a year ago now, maybe about a year, 18 months ago, and it was an honour for me to, you know, for a charity that helps children and families, support children and families, you know, young kids with cancer and stuff like that. It's you know, it's heartbreaking, and the support that they give to both the children and the families is second to none. You know, and the work that they do with the local hospital all day is absolutely unbelievable. And you know, they got a real foot in it, like with Liverpool Football Club. Funny enough, it was always going to be, when he asked me to do it, it was a really proud moment. Do you know what I mean? So of course I was going to accept, and I'll always be an ambassador for that charity for as long as they want me to do. And it was only, funny enough, I've moved in over the road from Mark now. He's a neighbour. He lives facing me, and Virgin van Dijk, funny enough, dropped off a lorry full of presents for children just 2 days ago into my street. Literally a lorry, 7 pallets full of presents for kids from the ages of 3 to 18. And me and Mark were unloading the pallets and putting them in the house with a lot of other volunteers from the charity. And Mark's not only a colleague from the charity, and he's also a friend, and he's now a neighbour as well. And him and his wife Joanne, what they've been through and what they do on a day-to-day basis is just inspiring to everyone. They've been, as neighbours, they've been unbelievably welcoming to me and Rachel, my girlfriend. They were always knocking over the road, asking us if we wanted anything, giving us cups of tea, going and getting us food while we were doing the house up and working on it. They're just unbelievable people. And, the city of Liverpool is lucky to have people like that. And the Virgil van Dijk doing what he's doing, and Forbes from the LFC Foundation getting involved. Forbes does a lot of work out in America. When we go out there, he does a lot of work in the community. When we're on tour, he's an unbelievable person, and all these people coming together to give this charity the platform that it has to do the unbelievable work that it does. It's phenomenal, and I'm just, it's not about me. It's about Mark and Joanne. You know what I mean? I'm just so proud that I can help and be a part of it. Really, do you know what I mean? If something like that, obviously I haven't got kids or anything like that, but if something like that happened to myself, I don't think I'd be able to get up in the morning, you know what I mean? And to get up and do what they do on a day-to-day basis for and it's not always a nice outcome, you know what I mean? A lot of the time the children do get better, but it's not always the case. And they have to relive basically what they went through every day with what they do in work, and it's unbelievable. It's just, you talk about great people in the world, but these are the people who go under the radar, and it's just, I'm just so privileged to be part of what they're doing and be a part of their lives. And we all should take note and follow their example that they set, because it's it's unbelievable, and I'm just so proud and so lucky to be part of it.
Yeah, it was an honour to have him on, because Mark had told me he never comes on podcasts, no. Especially to talk about Owen. And I'd actually told him my nephew passed away when he was 15 on the YTS scheme in a really bad accident. So, it resonated with me, his story. And I think that's why he came on, because kind of the same thing. But yeah, what him and Joanne are doing, just, it amazes me that like I told him, that they could have just gone off by themselves, and just lived their life out. But they said, no, Owen deserves a legacy, and let's set up this foundation for all these other families that have, the same kind of issues.
Yeah, and it's amazing, because I've had the privilege of going and meeting the kids as well, with Mark, the kids who are Liverpool fans and stuff like that. Like, obviously, they're really happy just to see me and for me to turn up and stuff like that. But, I almost can't deal with it, you know what I mean? Like, I go in and see the kids and time out the door, I'm nearly crying my eyes out, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know how he does it day in, day out. So after the odd days I've done with him, you sit there and you think how lucky you are. Do you know what I mean? To have the life that you have, and have the opportunities that you've still got, and just to be here. You know what I mean? It's because you don't know what's around the corner, and like I say, it's the children are just, they're unbelievably brave children. Do you know what I mean? To go through what's going through.
Yeah, they still have smiles on their faces.
Yeah. They take it in the strides. I met a little boy Ewan recently, and he's just such a confident little lad. And he's, he didn't seem scared of anything. And I believe, just things are getting better with him, and I'm so happy to hear it. And But these families have got a long road ahead, and from the support that they get from Mark and the charity is much needed, and there needs to be more of it. You know, nothing just this. You know, just all over the world. You know what I mean? This is cancer's the biggest killer in the world. You know what I mean? It's people need support through all stages of it, and after it, you know, it's massive, and especially, you know, with children and stuff like that, it hits home a lot more. And yeah, I'm just, like I say, it's an unbelievable charity, and if anyone who's listening to the podcast, you know, hasn't heard of the work that they do, you know, give it a little look, you know what I mean, and I'm sure you'll you know, give it some support and stuff like that, because it's amazing.
Yeah, I gave all my birthday money that I collected to the foundation as well. You know, and any little thing that I could do, you know. Yeah. But again, they just do amazing things. Before we wrap up, I know Steve, you wanna jump in there?
Yeah, Jamie, I have a quick question. You know, you obviously LA really put you on the map internationally with a lot of Liverpool supporters, right? And you kind of have mentioned, you know, the Jordan Henderson song and Poor Scouser Tommy. Which is your favorite to chant, Liverpool chant out of, you know, we've had a lot. We've had the Torres song, we had Suarez, and, you know, and so which one do you enjoy singing, you know, at Anfield, but also which is the one that you like playing a lot too?
Yeah, I think I like at Anfield. I think You'll Never Walk Alone is the song that, like, you know, like that I'll always like want to hear. It's just like it's the ultimate football song. But like besides that, I think playing it, my favourite Liverpool song has always been Poor Scouser Tommy. It always has been. It's just a story. It's a story. You know what I mean? It's almost like if Bob Dylan was a football song. Do you know what I mean? It'd be Poor Scouser Tommy. It's got everything in it. Like a man on his dying breath, do you know what I mean? He declares his love for Liverpool Football Club. I'm sure we can all resonate to that, you know what I mean? In some way that, like, we'd like to think that if you were on your deathbed, you'd like to have a thought of the times that you shared with LFC, you know what I mean? Like somewhere along the line. And like, you know, I loved it as a kid as well. I loved that song. It was like a nursery rhyme to me as a kid, you know what I mean? And yeah, forever. I like the way I slow it down at the start of the boss night and then speed it up towards the end, and it's got the big finale, and you know, it's got a dig at Everton in there. It's got a, you know, it talks about Ian Rush, the all-time greatest goal scorer that we'll probably ever have, unless Mo Salah stays for another 10 seasons. You know, like, it's just the ultimate song. So yeah, I'd probably say that. But one that goes off, that gets the crowd bouncing, is the Van Dijk song every time. Do you know what I mean? And LA, but the Van Dijk song, like, people just go nuts for that. You know what I mean? It's and the Origi one, likewise. You know what I mean? He's like a cult hero, you know what I mean? It's amazing to see that. But yeah, no, I'd say Poor Scouser Tommy. If you wanted to quote me on my favourite Liverpool song of all time, it's Poor Scouser Tommy. Oh, I always like saying the question. I always like the question because I like the answer. Do you know what I mean? It's the reason why and stuff like that. But yeah, no, but thanks very much.
So what? A quick talk about this football team, because I know we really haven't even talked about the footy team. With all the injuries, still top of the league, still, you know, got through at the group stages, you know, top. I mean, where does this team go from here?
Looks like the sky's the limit, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a great time to be a Liverpool fan, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's despite all this injury-stricken Liverpool that everyone keeps talking about, top of the pile, top of the pops. Do you know what I mean? It's all good. I think the only thing we can do next to succeed, what we've already done, is do the double of the European Cup and the league. Do you know what I mean? And now that's a big, you know, that's a big feat to accomplish. Do you know what I mean? That's like that's Paisley status. Do you know what I mean? Like that's up there. But you know, I think for that you need Van Dijk, you need Thiago, you need, you know what I mean? You need your squad. You need to utilise your squad to its maximum, which is, it's tough to do at the moment, obviously, with the injuries that we've got. But you know, I think you never say never with Jurgen Klopp in this Liverpool team. But I think get Thiago in the side get him fit, get him playing. You know what I mean? Let's see what happens with Van Dijk. I think we might be lucky and we might see him before the end of the season. So if we do, there's every chance to go into those latter stages of the European. You know, we could do it. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I think success is what comes next for Liverpool Football Club. I just think more success. You know, it's a great. We've got the best manager in the world. We've got the best front line in the world. You know, best goalkeeper in the world. I think best fullbacks in the world. When he's fit, the best centre half in the world. You know, Thiago, probably one of the best technical midfield players in the world at this moment in time. We are, and then all these players, all these world class players around them as well. Like you know, you're talking Jordan Henderson, unbelievable footballer. You know, even like Jota, you know, who's suffered a bit of an injury at the minute. What a player he's been. Joel Matip, when he's played centre half, he looks unbelievable. Fabinho in centre half or midfield. These are all world class footballers. Even the players like Naby Keita come on, make a difference. Curtis Jones has developed into a world class footballer. The list goes on. Chamberlain on his day is unplayable. Shaqiri on his day is unplayable. Do you know what I mean? Divock Origi knows how to score a big goal at a big moment. Gini Wijnaldum is probably one of the most reassuring midfielders in the game today. You know what I mean? The energy from him. Don't think there's anyone who can run as much as him. You know, he could play at any team in the world. Gini Wijnaldum comfortably and do the dirty work. That's what he does. We've got an unbelievable roster of players, and like you say, we're talking about the young ones coming through. It's frightening, really. And I think you're right. Teams were looking at us in this moment where we have these injuries. They were looking for us to really suffer, and they were looking to get a leg up on us and get close to us. But you know, we're 3 points top of the league. Tottenham have got a tough test this weekend. We have got a tough test this weekend ourselves, but you know, look at Chelsea. They've gone from second to sixth, you know, in a matter of 2 games. So, you know, we could, if we pick up the points now, I think everyone else has got a few tough games, you know, next week. I think if we make that step the weekend, you go to 6 points clear, you know, with a bit of luck. And it could go the other way, obviously, but 6 points clear, you know, you start looking at things then and you think to yourself, you know, we've only got players. We're only going to get better because only players are going to come back. Do you know what I mean? And we don't look like we're going to get beat by any of these teams who come and play. You know what I mean? I think we look like better than. I still think we look like the best team in the league, even with our injuries. So, it's an exciting time. You know, it could go either way because of the injuries and because of the amount of games that we play. But something tells you, doesn't it, that it's not going to go the other way, and that we're just going to go from strength to strength, really. And you know, fingers crossed and touch wood that happens. And let's hope for the best.
I think there's a lot of that motivation too from not having the true title experience after last season. That I think that this team really wants to get back to that and hopefully have actual fans in the stands when we win the title again this season. So yeah, we're all looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's I think that's what we want as fans, and that's ultimately what the players want. You know what I mean? They don't want to be celebrating the league title in an empty stadium. They want that experience. They want the parade. So let's see. Let's just see. You know what I mean? It's you know, at the minute we look like we're favourites to do it. So you know, if we're still top come Christmas by a few points, you know, there's every reason to suggest that we're going to go on and do it again. And maybe it might be a bit more thrilling this year. Do you know what I mean? It might go down to the wire, and we might have more of a City Aguero moment that they had, you know, in 2012-13. You know, that'd be, we've won it like by a landslide. Now let's try and win it like maybe like with a bit of. It'd be nice to win it with ease, but you know, a bit of drama always makes for a good celebration, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't know if my liver can handle that.
Or my heart, to be honest, you know what I mean? But we'll see anyway, fellas. But like, I just want to say thanks very much for having me on. It's been a great time, you know, great couple of hours talking to you now. I feel like I made a couple of mates. So
I know it goes by quick.
Yeah, it does. But next time you're in Liverpool, you know, and fans are back, you know, I'll be in hotel tier, no doubt. So make sure you get yourselves there and come and say hello. Get in touch with me, you know, and we'll sort that out. And likewise, if I'm back in the States, make yourselves known. Come and see me. We'll say hello. We'll have a beer.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
You need to get yourself out to Austin.
I know, it's somewhere where I'd love to go. Do you know what I mean? It's
well, I mean, Dan has one of his business is in Austin. So he said he was here last July. So
yeah, he was.
So you should maybe get with him and both of you come over.
I'll have to read up on computer coding then, because that's what his business entails. So it's hopefully it's with the music and not with Dan's computer business. Like, but yeah, I'll definition, mate. If there's a plane ticket to Austin, Texas, there I'm jumping on it. So yeah, honestly, just hopefully see you soon. Stay safe in the meantime, and up the Reds, and let's see what happens.
Cheers, Jamie. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, Jamie, mate.
See you later. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Ta-ra, boys.